Hi, welcome back to everything you wanted to know about second language acquisition, but we're afraid to ask. I'm Elizabeth, this is Art.
Hi.
Art, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Back to the topic of accent. I think a question that many people have is, can an adult get a native speaking English Canadian accent? Is it possible?
Well, whether it is English Canadian or British Canadian or any other language, it's actually in most cases not possible to reach exactly the same level as native speakers of the language have. So about 5% of adults who are learning a new language might get there, but that takes a lot of determination and a lot of work. 95% of people would never get there, and so some of them will be very close. And some of them will be very, very far from the native accent. That doesn't mean they can't learn a language. It's just the accent itself, pronunciation, is a different matter.
Okay, I think a lot of people would want to know, what are those 5% that are succeeding doing?
Right. So a lot of people think that it's their talent. You have an ear for languages. Some people say you have an ear for languages. So far, research hasn't really confirmed that some people are really talented in terms of learning a new accent. It's more about the amount of work you put into that. I think people don't realize how much work you need to put into getting the right or the new pronunciation. It's also people who tend to sound like native speakers, they tend to have a slightly more flexible identity. They are happy to become a local. They are happy to sound like a local. They would like to sound like a local rather than they would like to keep their own first language identity or their first accent identity. So they really desire to be like another person. But the third factor, which is extremely important, is the right kind of instruction, because a lot of accent instruction is actually not research-based. And if you get a teacher who knows what he or she is supposed to be doing and how to teach a new accent, a new kind of pronunciation, that's a lot more efficient than struggling on your own or using teachers who are actually not experts at that.
Okay, so what does a good teacher who has done her research do in a class to help students reduce?
Well, that's a whole different question. I think we could have a video just about that. I think we could share some of the techniques that we use. We are interested in how our body and how our language are related, and they are related, as research says, on a neurological level. Language is not a disembodied thing. It doesn't happen only in your brain. It happens in your body. Those two things are together. So what we try to do when we teach pronunciation, we focus on connecting the language with the body. And just one example, it doesn't cover 99% of the things that we do, but if our students really love this activity that we call crazy reactions. Do you remember it?
Yeah.
Okay, so for example, what we do, we take a standard English expression. Right now, a very common expression in Toronto is awesome. People say awesome all the time. Whether it's awesome or not, I don't know, but they say it. But what we do, we teach awesome with the gesture awesome. Notice that I do aw. Exactly. And notice that at the same time we produce the ah sound, the vowel, which is quite tense, and we stress that vowel. So the gesture comes on the stressed syllable, always on the stressed syllable, and it comes with the emotion. So let's do it together. Awesome. Also notice that there was intonation there. We went awesome. There are two different notes there, so we emphasize that part as well. To give you another example, which is kind of funny, how would you say shut up?
Shut up.
Okay, what we teach our students, we teach shut up pronounced in a different way. We say shut up.
Okay, so like disbelief.
Exactly, right? We do explain that that means disbelief, and we go shut up. Notice that my gesture goes down on up. That's when my voice goes down. And on shut up, I start the movement on sh, but up is stronger, right? Because that's where the stress is. And I do know that you have your favorite example, and I want you to demonstrate that too.
I really like the awkward.
Right, so you go
My favorite.
awkward, you touch your
Awkward.
eyebrow when you say the
Word. No, sorry, awk.
awk,
Sorry.
exactly, yeah.
Wait, let me see. Awkward.
Yeah. So what you did now, you did awkward. So you touched and then you moved, right? Because word is elongated and aw has this stress. So your gestures are inherently connected, in fact, and we try to put them together with the language instead of separating the two, as it is often done in the language in a language classroom. And that's how embodied English works.
Wow, that's great. And I think if people want to learn more, they can go to the link, and they can also send us their questions that we'd be happy to attempt to answer, right?
Yes.
Awesome.